You guys look great. Very good, very sharp. Good morning, everybody. This is a gorgeous day after what seems like 6 weeks of rain. We ended up with a perfect day for these amazing kids. My name is Pete Regan, and I'm the chairman of the TSS board. I also happen to be, for the past 9 years, I think, a Mountain Academy dad. My son Sean graduated 2 years ago, and Grace will be graduating next year. On behalf of the board, the full board, I'd like to welcome you all to the graduation ceremony for the Mountain Academy class of 2022. Now, because the chairman does have a little tiny bit of prerogative, I have just a couple of remarks that I'd like to make before we go into the full program. The first is I want to thank the Mountain Academy parents, particularly the parents of this graduating class. Our high school can be, as you know, very demanding, lots of hard work, lots of long hours, and you all have prepared your kids to take on that challenge and to thrive in that difficult work environment. Thank you for raising such motivated, hardworking, and nice young people. I know you're all very happy for your daughter or for your son. They're all fantastic people. This day is yours as well. Congratulations to you. Next, I especially want to thank the faculty of Mountain Academy. The past couple of years have been extraordinarily difficult for all kinds of reasons. You've risen to the occasion time after time, worked through innumerable challenges. It was never easy at all, but you delivered an extraordinary education to our children. The board is very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you. Finally, I just have a few things to say to you guys. You listening, Alex? Good. I need you. I want to congratulate you all from the bottom of my heart. I've gotten to know all of you. You've all been to my house many times, so I really feel like I know you, and I know you all to be exceptional women and men. This room here, or this beautiful outdoor space, is full of your friends and family, and every one of them is very, very proud of you. We can't wait to see what you accomplish in the next phase of your lives, and we'll all want to hear about it. So congratulations, and thank you for everything you've contributed to Mountain Academy. So now what I'd like to do, it's my pleasure to introduce David Porter, the head of the upper school.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. First, I'd like to recognize our class, because this is one of the funnest classes of students that I've had the pleasure to teach, and I don't say that. I don't extol when it's not been earned. But it really didn't matter what material that I presented or that they wanted to learn. They were excited every day to come in and dig in and work together and work with me, and I saw tremendous growth over the 2 years that they were with me in the 11th to 12th grade. So thank you for being fun to teach. It really makes my job exciting and dynamic. So you might notice in their uniforms we have two who are wearing white stoles or sashes, long ribbons. I don't know what the garment is called, and they're special among their special classmates. They have been at Teton Science Schools, whether it was originally Teton Valley Community School or Journey School, since they were in pre-kindergarten, around 3 or 4 years old. So we would like to recognize, we've been doing this since we had the first lifetime student at Mountain Academy, only 2 years ago. We would like to recognize Skylar White, who has been at Teton Valley Community School and then transferred to this campus in middle school, and Sebastian Ortega, who are both lifetime students at our school. Congratulations. And they've been presented with a photo of the school that includes the engraving Mountain Academy student lifer. So I have the honor of introducing today's commencement speaker, who is my dear friend and colleague, Drew Overholser. And my relationship with Drew began in May of 2001. He sat on a panel at the Kelly campus and interviewed me over the phone. I was living in Salt Lake City at that time to become a member of the Journey School founding faculty. And then that summer we started the school at the Wilson campus in the duplexes with Jack Shea, Steve Archibald, Holly Ireland, Heather Marks, Nate McClellan, Chris Horn, and Kira Strom. And it's been a grand 21 years. So Drew grew up in Centerville, Ohio, where he played endless games of wiffle ball. He played in his high school baseball team and rooted for the Cincinnati Reds. And if you follow baseball, you know that the Reds have had some tough seasons, a lot, since the Big Red Machine. But Drew's been a steadfast fan through all those tough years. Drew attended Ohio Wesleyan University and graduated in 1995 with a degree in history. And in 1998, he completed his Master of Arts degree in history with a concentration in environmental history of the greater Yellowstone ecosystem at Montana State University in Bozeman. A year later, in 1999, Drew took part in the Professional Residency in Environmental Education program, which is now known as the Graduate Program in Teton Science Schools. Over 5 years during and after grad school, Drew spent summers guiding on the Green and Colorado rivers, as well as the Middle Fork and Main Salmon rivers, and he still has a tremendous passion for rowing Western rivers today. In 2001, completing his professional career in rowing, he came back to Wyoming to help us start the school. Since then, he's been a part of students' lives as their teacher, advisor, mentor, and friend. I estimated he's taught approximately 13 hours of current events in history, and he's been here so long that most current events have become history. And for instance, on the events of September 11th, 2001, happened to be the date that we started the very first journey at Journey School. We went backpacking in the Grovot Range. Drew has been the de facto math substitute anytime a math teacher had to miss school. You can scratch your head on that one. He's taught art courses, and not just lessons, but complete art courses. He's taught health and wellness. He taught enrichment programming that we called Choices. He's taught the Independent Design Project, and he substituted for ill teachers who knows how many times over his 21 years. Drew led and co-led 60-some overnight journeys during his time here to places like Lander, Salt Lake City, Canyonlands National Park, the San Juan River, Bozeman, Boise, Costa Rica, and throughout the Tetons. Suffice it to say, Drew has met the Journey School and Mountain Academy graduation requirements. So I asked our alumni to maybe send a memory about Drew now that he's moving on. And Charlie Mitchell from the class of 2015 wrote, "I'm sure as you're reading these notes, and you'll receive these notes and these letters, you're understanding just what sort of impact you've made on so many lives. It's an unfair and adolescent projection, but no doubt I felt a paternal affection for you, so I want to say thank you for your mere presence and then some." Layla Samlin wrote, "You informed my understanding of what characteristics a good teacher should have. In university, I looked for professors whose priorities and teaching styles are closer to yours. I will still see or learn something and wonder what you thought of it. I know I am speaking for the rest of the class of 2019 when I say that I cannot thank you enough for the positive impact you left on my education." And from Nathaniel Kimball, who was once one of our graduation speakers from the class of 2005, "Drew, you have an uncanny ability to help people read history in a way that makes them into better decision makers and humans. Amazing that we met 20 years ago, and your wit and wisdom still stick with me." Your wit and wisdom will stick with me too, Drew. It's been an incredible journey to have built this school with you. As you move on and I stay here, this is the cue, I can't tell you how much I'll be missing you every day. As your colleague and as your friend, I thank you for everything you've done for my children, for this school, and we hold a debt of gratitude. Mr. Drew Overholser.
All right, this is going to be harder than I thought it would be. Good morning, all. Thank you. I really am so honored to be here today and to celebrate this special rite of passage with all of you. Quite frankly, I was surprised that I was invited up here today. People have flown in from all over the country to be here to give this commencement speech. People that are way more interesting, accomplished than me. Then I remember the airport is closed, and it made a lot more sense. So, but I appreciate the gesture. I've always encouraged you guys to be historians. We don't spend a lot of time memorizing dates, events, but rather we try to critically analyze what we're reading, especially sources of history. We try to consider different perspectives, and we try hard to make well-articulated arguments. One of the tools we often use is the Opl Analysis, right? Yeah. And what it does is it provides a framework. It's an acronym that provides a framework for evaluating a historical source. Seb, what does the O stand for?
Origin.
Very good. Ellery, what's the P?
Purpose.
Very good. I wanted a little bit more confidence. Milo, what's the V?
Value.
Very good. And Charlotte, this was not on purpose, but what are limitations, or what's L?
Limitation.
Right, very good. I was worried she wouldn't remember. So I thought I would take us quickly through the OPVL process today. And we need a document to do so, so I chose this commencement program. It's surely going to be one of the great pieces of American history. And so let's look at it. The origin is pretty obvious. It is a primary source created by, produced by what I believe to be a reputable institution of learning. Its purpose. It provides our agenda, where we're going here today, and provides a little bit of background here on some of the participants. Upon deeper reflection, though, it's really just a piece of propaganda. You know, and we want to show you guys off, and rightly so. I am proud to be up here doing so. But it's propaganda in the sense that it doesn't provide the good and the bad. For example, Alex and Skylar's impressively consistent tardiness. Gus, your corny sense of humor. Let's just get that out right away. And Milo, of course, your insatiable appetite. Only time will tell the true value of this program as an historical document. But we can make note of some of its worth today. Being primary source, its contents have probably not been altered in its translation or summation. And it has an inherent value for that reason. It lays out some of your accomplishments, right? And if we wanted to know you as individuals, we have some basic facts. But I think in the final analysis, the significance will not lie in its value, but rather its limitations. The bios are short, and as a result, they don't tell us much about the accomplishments, your accomplishments. An historian needs a special skill set, the ability to evaluate a source, for example, but they also need content knowledge. And I have received plenty of content knowledge about this group. I've spent a significant amount of time with them. The last 2 years have been tough, and we were oftentimes in a small room together, learning together, eating together, playing games together, and I learned a lot about you. In hundreds of hours, literally with you, I I realized what a special group of people you are. What is not mentioned in the program is your strong work ethic. You would not have completed all your IB classwork without one. You guys also know how to play hard, and that's important. While they know exactly what buttons to push on one another, they are mostly very, very kind and supportive of one another. They are also creative in a multitude of ways. In this group, we have musicians, cooks, woodworkers, leather workers, writers, artists, photographers, and even radio producers. That's a pretty impressive list for these 8 students. This program also fails to communicate that you guys are driven by more than just extrinsic motivation. The next speakers do know that I pretty much drank out of every bottle here, so you might want to bring yours own up. You guys like learning for its own sake. You like to dig deeper. You like to debate issues and question one another. Lastly, and certainly not least, you are exceptional people. You're interesting to talk to. You're curious. You have a sophisticated sense of humor. You get me. Even you, Gus. They are open to others' ideas. They are resilient. And they want to make the world a better place. I'm confident they will. It is for these and many other reasons that I will hold on to this document. It will remind me of an astounding group of people. As I too end my time here, I could not be more proud to say that you are my students. Okay, this is the third bottle. So it's my understanding that I'm supposed to impart some advice today. At the risk of taking the metaphor too far, I thought for the last time I would go with the OPVL. I've learned so much about these guys, and I want to give them some of what I've learned from my experiences in my 47 years in school and as a student and a teacher. Origin. Do not forget where you come from. And by that, I do not mean just this beautiful place. You also need to remember those who helped you to get here and will allow for your continued schooling. You have all been provided with a great gift and a head start in life, a high-quality education. As a result, you're all privileged to one degree or another. This does not diminish your accomplishments. You deserve to be here. But do not squander the opportunities that come with that privilege, and be sure to give gratitude to those who have and will support you in the future. Purpose. Work towards a career, or 2 or 3, that offer reward beyond financial gain. To be consistently good at anything, it must fulfill you in some meaningful way. This may mean a work that allows for your creativity, or collaborating with others. Perhaps your work positively impacts an individual, or a group, or a community. This can be the most gratifying type of labor. Regardless, like what you do. This may require having some jobs that you don't like so much to get to that place, but the result will be more than worth the effort. Value. Know what you believe and defend your ideas with respect and without remorse. We've often talked about the role of objectivity in class, as well as the importance of different perspectives. That said, do not find yourself paralyzed by relativism. The concept that truth and morality only exist in relation to culture and historical context, and that there are no absolutes. It is important to know where someone is coming from, Although in my opinion, it is even more important to know where you stand, the values that underpin your positions, and to have the confidence to voice them. This does not mean you should ignore others' ideas, and that your own views won't shift. I refer to the issues that I feel most passionate about as non-negotiables. These are the causes that reflect my own values and that I see as absolutes. These include the vital necessity of stewarding our environment, protecting the sanctity of our democracy and universal suffrage, pursuing equality and equity until it is enjoyed by all, promoting science-based and humanities-informed public policy, and lastly, the essential need for an educational system in this country that imparts both the good and bad of our nation's history, and viewing that story as a call to action. I urge you to have your non-negotiables based upon those values that you hold dear. We live in times when this is more important than ever. Limitations. As much as I wanted to play center field for the Cincinnati Reds, it was just not in my cards. Mary, you will not marry a billionaire from Miami Beach, Florida. It's not in your cards. That said, I have found that most of the limitations I have encountered in life are self-imposed. Do I have the skill set to do that? Am I smart enough for that position? Will people like me there? Will I fail? It is these types of questions, and our less than affirmative answers to them, that can be the greatest impediment to reaching our goals. While easier said than done, if you can overcome your insecurities, that much more is possible. Remember this as you engage new people and places and experiences in the coming year. Try a new sport or form of art. Make friends with people who have very different interests. Take a class on a subject you've never heard of. In other words, limit the boundaries you have established yourself. If you can do so, you'll grow more. You'll grow more, your life will be that much richer, and you will feel a greater sense of accomplishment. As David mentioned, in June of 2001, 8 of us sat down at the Mad Dog campus on 22 to begin a long process of building a school that would eventually evolve into the Mountain Academy. Before we started creating a class schedule or discussing scope and sequence, we brainstormed those characteristics, qualities, and skills we wanted our graduates to possess. The exercise proved a difficult task and took much longer than we thought it would. It is something that we have revisited and revised over time. I can now say with all sincerity that if I were to travel back in time to that day, knowing what I know now, I would have a much clearer idea of who a Mountain Academy graduate should be. They're sitting right next to me today. Thank you. A quick postscript. Dear Charlotte, the Oxford comma is dead.
Wow. Now I know what it feels like to have to follow Drew Overholser. Before I start talking about our graduates, I feel the need to take a moment again to recognize, I'm going to owe somebody $10 for crying, to recognize that Drew has made an immeasurable impact on the upper school community. As you can clearly see, he has a really special relationship with these graduates, but also all of our students and all of the students that he has already taught. He has been a constant mentor and sense of humor, or source of humor rather, to this class and also to me as a new teacher. I'd like to take the opportunity to show Drew our appreciation of all of his contributions to Mountain Academy and Journeys with a round of applause. Now I'll try to find the one water bottle that he didn't drink out of. Hello. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Kelsey Mitchell. I teach science in the upper school and am an 11th and 12th grade advisor. I'd first like to thank you all for being here to celebrate this fantastic group of graduates and say that I'm grateful for the opportunity to brag about them one last time before they officially end their journey as students at Mountain Academy. If I had to choose one word to describe the class of 2022, it would be curiosity. A really close runner-up would be siblings, or maybe old married couples, depending on what time of day it is and how long it's been since they've eaten. But in all seriousness, before you is an inspiringly, authentically curious group of students. It became so common for this class to ask dozens of relevant and also totally off-the-wall questions in class that I actually had to impose a limit in order to make sure that I covered all of the material the curriculum required. We called it 10-minute tangent time, and it was always a blast, and it almost always got weird. It's particularly inspiring to me that this group maintained and nurtured their genuine sense of curiosity while striving to meet the strenuous academic standards required of them. A diploma from Mountain Academy is an arduous, time-consuming, multifaceted, and worthy pursuit. The students before you have engaged in numerous interdisciplinary projects, have successfully completed the rigorous coursework of the International Baccalaureate program, have conducted and written substantial independent investigations in almost every discipline, and have collectively engaged in over 700 hours of community service and thousands of hours of extracurricular activities. They have presented an independent thesis, 18 months, more or less, in the making, have participated in meaningful self-reflection, have earned and completed prestigious national and local internships, and have sat for a grueling month of final IB examinations. It's impressive. It's impressive. This achievement requires not only passing interest, but sustained determination. Not just planning, but expert executive functioning. Not just strength, but support from friends and family. These achievements undoubtedly speak for themselves, but they are not only shining examples of independent achievement, they also reveal the class of 2022 as a single, symbiotic entity. Capable, creative, supportive, compassionate, balanced, humorous, intelligent, and curious. Class of 2022. It is important that when looking back at the memories from these years, you acknowledge that you were not merely a passenger along for the ride, but an active participant. This group could not have reached as admirable a level of scholastic and personal achievement without the contributions of each individual. Because it is often not until years later that we truly value the power of good times and the people we share them with, I hope I've highlighted just how special and close of a group you have become, and how fortunate I feel to have shared in that experience. And when I reflect on my time with this unique group of individuals, I think of Skylar and Milo finding common ground after a heated intellectual debate, sometimes around socio-political phenomena, other times around spirit animals. I think of Seb turning his passionate love affair with hot sauce into a major science project. I think of Alex employing humor and charisma to connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime, including, of course, with a group of teenage girls in Costa Rica who ended up asking for his number. I think of Ellery's transition from giggling uncontrollably in the back of the room to deploying her extremely strong work ethic in about 0.2 seconds. I think of Charlotte's eyes leaking, as she would put it, when Milo ripped a page out of her apparently beloved biology notebook. I had no idea it meant so much to you, Charlotte. Thank you. I think of Gus, listening to Gus, I should say, drum on desks, soda cans, chairs, refrigerators, whiteboards, water bottles, other classmates, his graduation cap, whatever he's drumming literally. Oh, he's not. Okay, great. Right now, okay. And I think of watching Mary's contagious smile infect an entire room. As you conclude your time here, I'm confident each of you will capture a lesson as unique as you are and carry it with you as you continue on your journey. In addition to that lesson, it is my hope that you all move on to the next chapters of your lives, trying really hard, taking responsibility for your actions, I think you see where I'm going here, and treating yourself and those you meet along the way with respect. And, above all else, I hope you approach life and all the opportunities it presents with the same confidence, fearlessness, and reckless abandon with which Mary sings the high notes of a Bruno Mars song. Congrats, team. Next, you'll hear from the graduates themselves. I'd like to welcome Charlotte Hogan.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte Holding, and I think it is so fitting we're having this graduation outside where you can hear the birds, because all the senior class is in a bird watching club together, and I personally am co-founder of the bird watching club and president, so thank you all for being here. My 6th grade project that I attended elementary school in Salt Lake City was to create a portfolio with my future laid out. In my portfolio, I said I would attend Churchill Junior High, then Skyline High School, where my 5 older siblings all attended and graduated from, and then attend college in California, where I would find a man named Brad, and marry him. Well, obviously something with this plan went wrong, because I'm standing in front of all of you here today. So, what happened? Halfway through my sophomore year in Utah, my parents informed me that we would be moving to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and my immediate reaction was, people live there? So, we moved here, and about a month later, the COVID pandemic shut everything down and school went online. During the summer, I didn't know where I was going to attend school for my junior and senior year because I did not want to return to school over Zoom. My mom called me while I was working in Sun Valley to tell me that she had found a school that was in person in Jackson, but she failed to mention the small detail that there would only be 8 people in my graduating class. About a week later, I was on a Zoom call with the David Porter, discussing admissions and if I would be a good fit at Mountain Academy. And at one point he asked me, what is your least favorite subject in school? And without any hesitation at all, I just responded, English. English is the worst. He sat there and looked at me for a second with confusion in his eyes, because that's the moment he realized I didn't know he was the English teacher. And then he responded, well, looks like I'm going to be your English teacher for the next 2 years. I looked at him for a second, and then I burst out laughing, which made David laugh even harder. I didn't know what the other faculty or the students would be like here, but I knew that if David, who I learned later that week, was supposed to be the most intimidating person at this school, and he had such a good sense of humor, that I would do just fine here. Something that David failed to mention on our Zoom call was how different Mountain Academy is from public schools. Most people get hung up on the small detail of the class sizes, but calling teachers by their first names feels illegal at public schools, but is the norm here. I never attended a school where at the end of the day, the whole high school gathers outside in a circle to say announcements, then people were grateful for, and then nominate someone who did extra good that day, and they get to ring a bell. At Mountain Academy, we don't simply do reflections. What we do is we reflect about reflections on reflecting. While writing this speech last night, I did a lot of reflecting on my time in high school and especially at Mountain Academy. Mountain Academy is so unique because of the individualized education that allows us to go on journeys and learn outside of the classroom. On the fall journey this year, we camped in Yellowstone National Park for 3 days. Drew Overholser was one of the leaders in my platoon, and while we were on the boardwalks looking at some of the mud pots, I spotted Drew just a few feet away from me and a tourist group of some smart-looking fellows walking towards us. I decided this was the perfect opportunity to yell, "Drew, how do they make these big puddles bubble? I don't see any outlets or power cords." Drew looked at me with the ultimate "you're done" look, and then decided to join the group walking by and pretend that he had never met me. I decided that it is these little funny moments that create a memorable experience, which is exactly what my time here has been full of, small and memorable experiences. I plan to take this mentality to California as I attend Santa Clara University and hopefully find my Brad. Thank you. Oh, and thank you, Mom and Dad. And Skylar, you're up next. Good luck. Shout out to Renetta for giving me her sunglasses. Thank you. Okay. Wish I brought my water up here. Hi, my name is Skylar White, and as the treasurer of the Mountain Academy Birdwatching Club, I'd like to warmly welcome all of you again to the Mountain Academy Class of 2022 graduation ceremony. So here's a fun but probably not so surprising fact. I finished this speech probably like 30 minutes ago. And I stayed up until 1:30 last night to write it, and I didn't finish it then. So if you can't tell, I'm a little bit tired today and delirious, and my sleep schedule is also still recovering from Costa Rica. And also, my dress is kind of itchy and my tan is fake. But I need to clarify, I don't say any of this to lower your expectations about the quality of this speech. I do all of my best and worst work at the last minute. I say it to practice the authenticity and vulnerability I've been working on cultivating this year. I am someone who wholeheartedly believes that if everyone was just a little bit more honest with themselves and their loved ones, our world would be a much more loving one. In the past, when it came down to me practicing what I preach, to actually doing the work of vulnerability as an individual, it was really scary and uncomfortable and hard. And it's still really scary and uncomfortable and hard, but as I practice, it's starting to feel a little bit easier. So in the spirit of authenticity and practice, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I have come to be over the course of my educational journey. Firstly, I'm a passionate lifelong learner. Shout out to August Christensen. I'm an activist, but I don't have all the answers. I'm a writer and an artist, and my work helps others feel less alone. I'm a perceptive and engaged community member. I'm an adventurer through the wilderness that is life. I'm a genuinely kind and compassionate person. I'm inherently worthy and lovable. I'm only human, and I'm also an entire universe of depth. I'm of the mountains that I call home. I've grown with them for the last 18 years, yet I remain as deeply rooted in this place as they do. And now for the part where I cry. I wish I could thank everyone in my wonderful support system / community individually, but that would be impossible, so I'm just going to do what I can. Firstly, I want to express my overwhelming gratitude to my teachers for their love, both tough and soft. It took me 15 years at Teton Science Schools to realize how incredibly much my teachers care about my well-being, both academically and personally. I specifically want to thank my art teacher, Heidi Kohler, for being both brutally honest and deeply kind to me and creating a safe space for me and my thoughts in her classroom. Secondly, I want to thank my absolute tornado of a family. Thank you for the endless laughter, nagging, forgiveness, chaos, and love. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I can't find him right now, but I specifically want to thank my brother, Declan, D-Diggity Dog, for being my right hand, I saw him, for being my right hand, or should I say passenger seat guy, for this whole year. You ground me in the present and remind me that life doesn't have to be so serious. And I can't wait to watch you grow into the incredible man and person I know you are becoming. I love you more than you know. Also, my best friend and cousin, who's graduating high school next week, is on the live stream and asked me to wave to her, so hi, Osi. I love you. And finally, I want to thank all my friends, especially the goons I would have never even thought of being friends with if I didn't meet them at this crazy school. You all make it worth it to come to class every day, and specifically to my fellow 7 graduates, I love you all dearly. And now I'm going to read something that I wrote in Costa Rica about these beautiful souls here. We drove until we left the sun behind, and La Hora Gris fell all around us. We drove, or really we sat, because we were not legally permitted to be the agents of our own lives in a foreign country, until the mountains grew up around us and the trees got cold and wove themselves into walls. We drove until the Spotify queue became comically delirious, oscillating violently between crappy 2000s pop songs and music Gus approved of and Taylor Swift, which we can all agree is the ultimate musical middle ground. We drove until Alex woke up and Mary became a mother of 3. We drove until Kelsey was laughing maniacally at the same singing she had scowled at in the beginning of the trip, and Ame was spitting bars and swinging her ponytail. We drove until Milo fell asleep in one of his comfy exorcism positions, and Charlotte was tanner than me, even though she has a genetic deformity. We drove until I couldn't not write down what was happening, and I was forced to scribble it half blind in the shadows of the violently bright phone flashlight Seb was using to read his bird poop book with. We drove until we realized we had grown together in a quiet and delicate way that we would never be able to explain without ruining something. We drove some more, and a thick and humid silence fell between us. All there was left to do was think our own private and painful thoughts about growing up and apart, and to let the heavy wind cup our faces in some imitation of comfort. We drove and drove and drove until we arrived back at where we started, but we had changed, and everything felt different, and nothing was ever the same again. Thank you. Next, you'll be hearing from Sebastian Alexander Ortega, the man, the myth, the Taekwondo master.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Ortega, and I'm the only one who put in hours for the Birdwatching Club. I've been a Journey School Mountain Academy student since pre-K, and my time at the Teton Science School has been pretty spectacular. I've learned a lot, but I think more important, I learned how to love to learn. Sounds a little weird, but it's how it is. Thanks to certain teachers, all the way from elementary school to high school, I began to love learning. While some classes were grueling, they were eventually entertaining thanks to the amazing teachers. But school isn't the only place where I found teachers who make learning fun. My coaches in kickboxing and mentors in fly fishing showed me how important a good teacher is for building passion. They are the ones who teach a love for learning, and that is something I greatly appreciate. Without these teachers, I would never be interested in pursuing engineering while being a nature lover and a fanatic of extreme sports. And beyond the teachers who show immense passion, the school teaches material found in very few other schools. The school teaches how to embrace nature. From a very young age, Here we are trekking through the woods, as you can see, learning how to take care of nature and learning about the ecology around us. An amazing part of this inclusion of nature around us is in our everyday classes. In biology and math, we learned how to do population statistics of any given species. And in physics, we read about the sound dampening effects of snow and in relation to fox hunting, or how foxes hunt. In addition to what's taught in class, at the beginning of every year, we're immediately thrown into a backpacking trip, and every new student thinks we're a bit crazy. We are. Thanks to being thrown into nature from such a young age with this school, I am one of 3 people in my family who can comfortably sleep overnight in the woods. The other 2 people are in Mexico. They are not here. They're not from Jackson. Being in nature is something I genuinely enjoy and care for. I spend dozens of hours in the national parks and forests throughout the summer, and I enjoy every moment of it. I began volunteering for the National Park Service and working for the Science Research Management bird crew. With them, I clocked 50 hours of finding peregrine falcon, bald eagle, and golden eagle nests in order to take quantitative and qualitative data. Without the push from the school, I would have never had an opportunity like that or ever thought of being able to enjoy something like that. Thanks to the nurture from the school, I am proud to be a nature lover. I want to thank my mom and dad for always being there to support me and for teaching me how to live life. More specifically, I want to thank my dad for being my favorite skiing partner and for teaching me the fundamentals of a kitchen. Gracias por siempre salvarme de los pedos que me meto en. Next, I want to thank my mom for taking me around the world and showing me life outside of a small town. Perdón por siempre preocuparte con mis deportes extremos. I want to thank my godmother for taking me on crazy adventures and challenging my culinary skills and pushing me to become an adult at the dinner table. I want to thank my teachers for helping me improve my schoolwork and gain a deeper understanding of the material that's taught, be it how things collide in physics or the importance of certain battles and leaders throughout the Civil War. I want to thank my coaches for pushing me physically and mentally and for always helping me achieve more. I want to thank the rest of my crazy family because life is boring without a little bit of crazy. Gracias a ustedes por ser los más divertidos. I want to thank my friends who make any moment in school incredibly entertaining, and I had so much fun in Costa Rica, I couldn't have asked for a better crew to go with. Thank you. Up next is Mary Haley Luke Sanchez.
Okay. I can't do this. It's like, hi everyone, I'm Mary, I'm from Mexico, and I'm the foreign expert for the Mountain Academy Bird Watching Club. I'm also an expert at telling stories to my family, so story time! Wait, I forgot that the good story time needs a title, and this title will be A Little Mexican Coming to US Legally. This entire school year, 2022-2023, I think I said the year wrong, but you guys understand. It's fine. Standing in front of a lot of people makes you think that is the scariest thing ever. But actually, I feel kind of comfy right now. This feeling didn't change since I came here. And I know it won't. Because the school is one of my favorite places. Everyone will think, what? It's school. How do you like being at school? But I have my reasons, okay? And one of them is for the amount of memories that I have laughing without control, making the teachers not very happy. I remember thinking in the airplane, Mary, what are you gonna do? You're gonna miss your family and the life that you have in Mexico. But it's exactly what I wanted. Leave my comfort zone, experience an entire different life, because when someone is always in the same place, they won't recognize the bubble that they live in. And I'm really proud of
the people that I met here, knowing that I will never forget them. And I'm so excited for telling a lot of stories about how everyone always support me, wait for me, and have the patience to understand me and love me anyway. I know that I'm not really good at talking, you know? There's always me laughing in the middle of every sentence that I want to say. But this is serious and I want to try. Oh, teachers. What can I say about you guys? You'll see me again on the TV at the Grammys. I actually need to decide who I'm going to name in the speech that day. But okay, being serious about this I really want to thank Drew for being the best advisory teacher. Even if we always drive him crazy. A fun fact about me and Drew is that at the beginning of the year, he was really concerned about me not talking for how shy I was. And now he's concerned about my really high ego. That I don't have a filter when I talk. And I actually think that Drew dreams with my voice. But he knows that I'm the best Mexican ever, and he'll miss me. Right, Drew? So, Drew, I wanted to thank you for everything, for always making me laugh, even if you were saying mean things to me. I love it. For how you connect with the students, for the way that you're a great teacher, and having the patience to understand us. Kelsey. Hi, Kelsey. How can I explain the amount of times that I was confused in class? Second language and bio they don't have a good match. They really don't go together really well. But surprisingly, I learned more here than in Mexico. It's so funny how I felt connected with the way that you teach, like you making sounds to make us understand. It's the best way. It is the best way for me to learn, and I didn't know that until you were my teacher. And I don't like saying you were in past because I don't want this to end. You're one of the people that I admire. I don't understand how can you know almost everything about bio. You always have an answer, and if you don't, you'll have it next class. The Costa Rica trip was amazing. I hope you enjoyed it the same way as we did, even if we made you uncomfortable with our weird conversations. I'm so sorry about that, Kelsey, but it was kind of funny. Thank you so much for being our mommy in that trip. Sorry. And make fun of us. Oh, God. And make fun things with you. Now it's turn of David. Let's talk about David. Let's start saying that you're an angel. And I know that I'm not the best student, but I know you're one of the best teachers. I can't believe that I'm here talking in front of everyone, or in the U.S. I can't express how thankful I am for everything that you've done for me, but I'll try. Thank you for being patient with me in my English. It was really hard writing essays, but every time you told me what to change, and I still struggle with it, but I got better in everything, and it's because of you. I hope you enjoyed having us as a class. We get really distracted sometimes, but we try not to. Thank you so much, David. You're the best. Oh, and I forget to mention that you'll be mentioned in my speech when I win the Grammys. After I already talked about the serious things, it's time to talk about Shar. I'm so proud of her. I became her mommy in the Costa Rica trip. That girl suffers so much. You can't even imagine. But we had so much fun. I can't imagine how close we got at this trip, and I'm really thankful for the friendship that we have now. I'll miss you, Shar. I would love to talk about Skylar. She's everything for me. That lady is something else. She understands me more than everyone, and that's scary because sometimes I feel like she reads my mind. The conclusion here about Skylar is that she's a witch. And I love her with my entire heart. I met the 8th sexiest people in the entire world, including myself, of course. And they're my family now. I don't know how to explain or thank this to the senior class. I'll start with my favorite cowboy girl. Thanks for giving me my water bottle. It became my emotional support. Love you, Ellery. Milo, you're next. I'm proud of you, and I'm so impressed how smart and talented you are. Because of course, I'm your mom. And believe it or not, you're the second favorite child. Even if Shai and I bully you. You're the best. Alex, compa. My second favorite Mexican. I love how fast we became friends. Because yes, we are friends, Alex. I know you're gonna miss me as I'll miss you. Thanks for the bear. Gus, you're extremely funny, and I love that you hate me. Seb, we're not that close, but I'm really thankful for how you helped me at school. The senior class is a perfect combination. We connect somehow, knowing that we're completely different. I love you guys. I'm gonna miss you all. And I actually don't like the goodbyes. And I don't want to say goodbye, so I won't, because I know we'll see each other again. Thanks. Oh, wait! I have a last thing to do. I don't know if I can do this. Kelsey, this is for you. Oh, God. No! Okay, 1, 2, 3. Same bed, but it feels just a little bit bigger now. Our song on the radio, but it don't sound the same. When our friends talk about, okay, I can keep going. I'm out. Thank you. Oh, who's next? Guys, well, I know everyone wants to keep listening to me singing, but it's Gus time. Let's go, Gus.
Hello. So, my name is Augustus Muller, and I am the field agent of the senior class birdwatching club. And apparently I wrote a similar speech to Seb, so I'm going to just improvise this whole thing. Let's do it. All right. When I started writing this speech 2 days ago, as any good senior should, which seems to be like actually good compared to the rest of the class, I could not for the life of me think of how to sum up the 4 years of my high school experience in 3 to 5 minutes. So instead, I'm going to tell you a story. There once was a boy who walked a half mile every day up through the winding hills and dark green trees to a Shangri-La beneath the summer moon. One week was so much like the other in the years the boy spent there that he imagined them as color-cycling light bulbs, their shape never changing, but their contents as varied and multifaceted as cut diamonds, each face providing a new perspective on its contents. Each week, each day, the boy would sit in the shelter of corkboard walls and learn. Smiling faces, lit by the light cast off the white snow outside, would teach him of mathematics, the nature of thought, and the full taxonomic classifications of the common dog and dog rows, information that has yet to show its full value. The boy learned how to think critically, how to analyze literature, and how to write paper after paper after paper, and still be interested in what those papers were about. The boy learned, as his life changed and his family moved away, that family could be found elsewhere, in the jokes and teasings of his classmates and in the kindness of neighbors. And most importantly of all, the boy learned how to learn, how to love learning, how to pursue new knowledge, and how to be curious about the world around him. And bad mistakes, he made a few. He had his share of sand kicked in his face, but he came through. The boy learned as much as he possibly could, and when the time came for the boy to leave this place, he took curiosity with him and ventured into the future. This is not the end of the boy's story, but it's all I know.
I'll continue to watch the boy as he grows further and learns more and strives for more knowledge. I hope he remains curious, as I plan to. To my fellow students, those not giving speeches today, I would like to give you one piece of advice. Stay curious, strive to know more, and try to find joy in learning. That joy will take you far. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but remember, he has 8 more lives to live. Stories aside, I'd like to take this moment to give my thanks to the people that helped me get to this podium. First, I'd like to thank my classmates for 4 years of interesting moments, to say the least. You're all my closest friends, and I'll miss you. Our Costa Rica trip was one of the greatest weeks of my life, and it would not have been the same without you. So thank you. I'd like to thank my teachers for guiding my curiosity and putting up with my endless song references and off-topic questions. I could not have asked for a more supportive and wonderful administrative staff and instructors. You all as staff are so excited about what you teach that it's really easy to replicate that excitement and to be interested in what you learn. So thank you guys for that. Thank you to my music teachers, Ed and Zach, for fostering my love of music. I'm going to continue the path you put me on, and thank you, Ed, for 10 years of amazing drum lessons and amazing experiences. Thank you. Thank you to my weightlifting coaches, Dwayne and Paula, for teaching me how to move well and how to enjoy exercise. Thank you to Sensei Sue for putting up with my energy and telling me to relax my shoulders so that I'm able to move them and don't get arthritis when I'm 45. I'd like to thank the Taylors for bringing me into your family and giving me a home here in Jackson after my home had moved away. I'm so immensely grateful for your kindness, and you made me feel like part of your family, which I'm truly grateful for. Thank you so much, and this year would not have been the same without you. Finally, I'd like to thank my family. These last few years were rough. We were blown apart, we moved, and we all struggled through pain and trauma. But we made it. Thank you to my mom for being the strongest person I know, and for moving us to a different state single-handedly, and for supporting me through that turmoil. Thank you to my dad for coming back to us and working the steps of recovery. And thank you to my brother for being funny, unchanging, and lovingly obnoxious. I love you guys. Thank you. And now, we already announced that someone else was the man who we've all been waiting for, so I'll just announce him as the man no one thought would be here today. But he's here, Alexis Reyes.
I just want to start this off by saying I've never given a speech before, and I'm also a little bit dyslexic, so if I don't look up, it's because I will not find the place I was at. So, just want to start off with that. I want to start this off by saying I've actually made it. I graduated. Also want to start this off by thanking my mom, because as most of you know, I didn't exactly grow up with a fatherly figure around, so my mom has been the person to teach me everything I basically know. And I know she's the one person who supported me the most through this entire time I've been at school. Even though I might not be the best, let's be honest, this family would not be the same without me. It would be boring. I'd like to also thank my sister, because even though she's a little moody sometimes, she's always there for me, and she always joins me in my stupid ideas. Something that I'll end up taking away from these 4 years that seem to be frivolous at the beginning is that even though it may seem really boring, and it's something that you don't really want to do while you're doing it, you should enjoy it regardless. And I'm not talking about classwork or homework or anything that really has to do with it academically, but I'm talking about just the experience of being here. Because as it might not seem like it, but here, these 7 silly lampoons sitting here, I'm gonna miss them a lot. All the experiences, all the time, all the jokes, all the conversations, I'm gonna miss them, even though they were a little stolen at times. Another thing that I'll take away from these 4 years, and a tip that I have for all the younger students, is to just be yourself. And I know that sounds a little cheesy, just because everybody says that, but I mean it honestly, just at all times. Just because there's no point of being in a group of friends who don't like you for who you actually are, or just a group of people in general. Another tip is just to live life. You're only a teenager once, you're only in high school once, so live it up. And I'm not saying go out and do something stupid that'll get you into jail or into trouble or anything, But I'm saying, just have fun, you know? If there's a party, go to it. If your friends want to hang out, go hang out. And if there's a cute girl, go talk to her, because regret, it's not fun. Oh yeah, another thing, if y'all want to go ding-dong ditching, just don't get caught. It's not a fun situation for anyone. The cops won't be very happy with you. I wouldn't know from experience anything, I'm just assuming, you know? But honestly, if there's one thing that I could say is a regret of mine during these 4 years, it's probably just that I didn't live it up, like I'm telling you guys to do it. Like I said before, I wouldn't go back and change anything, because it's really been fun regardless. But that is one thing that I could say with certainty is a regret of mine. So moral of the story, just be yourself, have fun, and just live it up. You're only going to be in high school once. You're only going to be a teenager once. Y'all don't want to be the parents in 20 years that when your kids ask you about high school, you have nothing to tell them because you didn't do anything fun because you were too scared to do it. So just do it. All right, next up, she's the height of a giraffe. She's tall and blonde. Ellery.
Hey everyone, I'm Ellery and I'm the secretary of the Birdwatching Club. Wow, I've been very scared and excited for this day for a very long time, but here we are. I came to this school in 4th grade, still when it was called Journeys. That was the good old days. Back then, I was very shy and quiet. I had come from public school with a class that was about 200 kids, and coming to a school at the time, which was about 20, it was a huge adjustment, but here we are with 8 of us. Over the many adventures that this school has taken me through, I have grown into a much more confident young woman than I was when I came here. Now graduating with a class of 8 people, I realize how important it is to become close with all of those around you, whether they're the people in your class or the grades above or below you. Although we have all had our ups and downs through our friendships, it has made our class a lot closer. There have been many adventures to lead us to where we are today. First, the IB program. Wow, that was hard, but we worked through it together. And many group projects. That was a big learning curve for all of us. Biology, math, Spanish, whatever it was. And of course, it's very important to hang outside of school. We go to a small school, so you may think that we're all close, but it's still important to get out of the classroom and hang out together. And of course, all of our journeys. My first one being in 4th grade when we went to Yellowstone, all the way up to backpacking through the Grand Tetons and the Gros Ventre Mountains. We've been through many adventures just there in general. These other young adults that are graduating around me have become some of my closest friends. Each member of the senior class brings a different aspect to our group, whether it's being the class clown, Charlotte and Mary. You guys experienced Charlotte or Mary singing, all the way to Charlotte drinking cleaning fluid one time. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or giving us all a hard time, Milo. It's probably well-deserved sometimes, maybe. Or to having homework help from Gus. He can always help you. He knows everything. I may have just upped his ego a little too much. Or always being there to see the best in us, Skylar. You're always there for us. Or teaching us about cars, Seb and Alex, and especially karate. Sorry, taekwondo. Sorry, messed that up a little. I love my class more than I think they know. We're all going to very new chapters in our life, to different areas in the country or even the world. And I am super excited for each of us and to see where everyone ends up going and how their life pans out. I want to thank my senior class for going through this journey with me. Thank you to my teachers for teaching me everything I know. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you to my parents and my family for being my #1 supporters since day one. And I want to thank all my friends here for bringing me pure joy. So thank you, Mountain Academy, for my elementary through high school career, for preparing me for my next chapter at Kansas State University. Now, everyone welcome Miles Francis Goodell up to the stage.
All right. As the co-founder and the vice president of the Mountain Academy Birdwatching Club, I'd first like to say that I've come a long way in my years at Mountain Academy. I started off in middle school as the kid who dropped staples into the outlet during Spanish class until it exploded. At least I can say I only made that mistake once. And since then, I've learned a lot at this place. I learned what I value in life. I value the time that I've spent with all of you. Be it an after-class conversation with a teacher or an intellectual debate among peers. These are the moments when I've learned the most. Let me tell you, I seriously doubted the value of a class called Theory of Knowledge. But looking back, conversations held in that class have served me much more than I had anticipated. Or be it a night shared camping on the sand dunes with friends. These shared moments fueled both my happiness and success over the past 4 years. I've learned that today is the youngest I'll ever be. For this reason, I must not be preoccupied by the chaos which is life. I certainly learned this from the chaos of the whitewater rafting trip in Costa Rica. While watching Charlotte fall into the waves of a Class 4 rapid, I don't recall being stressed out about how I had not started the speech yet. I've learned that something done poorly isn't worth doing at all, and for that reason, everything I do must be done with the intention of having it be my best work. Now, I'm not saying that these last 4 years of my high school experience have been devoid of failure. I thought that my first English paper that I wrote for David Porter at the beginning of junior year was the best paper that I had ever written. I was wrong. The paper was returned to me torn to pieces with unsatisfactory grades attached. But that paper was the paper that taught me the most. It was David's harsh criticism that pushed me to raise my expectations of myself. And I will take these high expectations with me into college. I may still not know how to cook food that doesn't have the directions written on the box, or know how to do my taxes, but at least I know that I'll be able to figure it out when the time comes. I've learned to run without a destination with assurance that the finish line will be a reward well worth the marathon. By this I mean that the purpose of our efforts are not always clear, but it's still important to put that effort in. Although I'm a little skeptical as to whether imaginary numbers have any purpose at all in the long run, or if they were just made up to trick high school students. I guess that's a question to be answered in college. Some people say you're the median of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But in my life and on this campus, I find myself in the middle of dozens of role models. The people that taught me how to succeed and how to enjoy life are the people that deserve credit for my accomplishment. My friends have taught me what it means to have fun. Through countless days skiing and nights camping, I learned how to enjoy each moment to the fullest. I thank you for that. My teachers have taught me how to be a leader, how to persevere, how to be accountable. For that, I thank you. And lastly, I want to thank my parents. What they have taught me is indescribable. Through constant support and unconditional love, they have made me the person that I am today. And finally, I shall leave a piece of advice for my younger peers. Make sure and always be prepared with lots of snacks. Also, my advice is to learn to do the work for yourself. Don't come to school just to check off the boxes. Don't come to school for your parents. Don't come to school for David Porter. Do it because you want to and because it's fun. Trust me when I say this, as I'm speaking from personal experience, it's been a blast. Thank you everyone for making my high school experience as fun as it's been.
All right. We will now call the graduates to the stage to receive their diplomas. Graduates, as I read your name, please stand and be recognized. You may make your way to the stage where your diploma will be presented by David Porter, our head of upper school. You've heard a few things about him already today. Also, traditionally, all Journey School and Mountain Academy graduates receive a commemorative compass as a graduation gift. Each compass is engraved with the GPS coordinates of the Jackson campus so they can find their way home. Mountain Academy Director of Development, John Morgan, will be giving the students their compasses. You guys ready? Yeah. Miles Francis Goodell. Congratulations. Ellery Fisher Hare. Charlotte Covey Holding. Augustus Muller. Sebastian Alexander Ortega. Alexis Reyes. Mary Moot Sanchez.
Thank you.
Skylar Canavan White. Congratulations to the class of 2022. All right, grab a seat. Just before I call Sean up to do a quick closing, I want to give everybody some quick instructions for what we're going to do at the end of the ceremony. After the closing remarks from Sean, the entire Mountain Academy community, including all of our students from kindergarten up through grade 11, are invited to line the path just to the north of the basketball court here, and to create a tunnel for the class of 2022 to walk through. Once we have completed the parade, the class of 22, their families, and the Mountain Academy faculty are invited into the dining lodge for a brief reception. Got it? Okay, Sean, you're up.
So apparently I'm in good company because I wrote my speech last night too. First and foremost, just want to say thanks for everybody coming and congratulations to the class of 2022. And it's not snowing. It's touch and go there for a couple days. But here you are, you're graduates. You've got your diplomas in hand. It's a milestone for sure. It's just one of many that you'll experience in this adventure called life. I remember my graduation. It was 1988. Things were a little different then. A gallon of gas was 91 cents. It cost $3 to go to the movies, and a dozen eggs were 65 cents. Also, in 1988, the Supreme Court ruled that trash placed at the curb is unprotected by the Fourth Amendment. The Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan. The Phantom of the Opera opened on Broadway. And most importantly, 13% of Americans believed that the moon was made of cheese. In 2022, you're entering a world that is in many ways the same, and in many ways so different from the world I entered. In 1988, the internet didn't really exist. Social media wasn't even an idea, and you still had to lug around a film camera to take pictures. It would be easy for me to stand up here and be nostalgic and claim the world was better then. It wasn't. The world had its problems. Some were acknowledged, but many were unspoken. As you head off to college, embrace the next 4 years, or 5, or in my case 7. Be courageous enough to speak your mind, but humble enough to recognize that none of us know everything. Plato said in his book, The Republic, "I'm the wisest person alive, for I know one thing, and that is I know nothing." He also said in his book, "Those who tell the stories rule society." Go out into this vast and complicated world with your eyes wide open. Make sure you listen to all the stories, because the world is much more nuanced and complicated than is often presented. You're entering a world that is in the midst of significant change. Just keep in mind that this is not the first time the world has gone through massive shifts, and it won't be the last. Today, it's hard to imagine what the world will look like in 50 years. But this sentiment about the future has been true for the entirety of human history. We don't know what the future looks like. I wish I had gotten to know this graduating class better and I had more time to work with them. They are special. They are academically capable, aware of the complexities of the world, and yet they lack the deep cynicism rampant in our society today. Without optimism for a better tomorrow will never come. The world needs you. It needs each of you. Stay true to who you are and embrace the idea that each one of you has the power to have positive impact one decision at a time. Congratulations. And I'd like to introduce officially the end of the ceremony. If everybody would please stand and give a round of applause. I was also told by Drew that I think we missed one tradition. Aren't we supposed to do something with the tassels? Yes. Right to left. Okay, let's get them on, right to left. And that is the end. Congratulations. So now so I think you gotta go run the gauntlet now. I think you gotta run the gauntlet now. All right, please join us over here on the path. We're gonna form a tunnel for the class of 22 to walk through.
Come on.